Hello and welcome back to my channel, and today we are getting specific. So we are looking at my specific numbers from 2024. I want to see exactly where all my money went. I have never done any kind of tracking like this before in my life. I am so excited that I was able to track an entire year of spending and savings. So now that 2024 is over, I get to look back and see everything that I've spent and saved, where it went, and what my goals should be for this year, 2025. I have all my notes here. I use a budget tracker that I bought on Etsy. I really wanted to make my own because I love making digital products like that. If you don't know, I do actually have a digital shop. It's Mandala Bunny Digital on Etsy, but I haven't had time to make my own budget tracker. I did find one that I absolutely love, so I will link that in the description, and it's made for Google Sheets. So it's really easy to use and you don't have to have Microsoft Office or anything paid for. The Google Sheets is free, so all you have to do is buy the budget tracker and you're able to use it. I did make an extra sheet to add on to the budget tracker that will add up all the categories from the different months, because I have a one page for each month. So it will go through and add up everything from the different months and set the total amount and the average amount for each category. I will note, I've only done this for expenses. I might go back and do this for money that I brought in, my income also, just to see how much is coming from my work paycheck versus Etsy versus my tax return or whatever miscellaneous income I've had. Hey everyone, this is future me. So I was editing and I realized I completely forgot to tell you about how my finances are set up between me and my husband. So we do have separate accounts. We didn't combine all of our money, which means we kind of split up our bills. We don't do everything. Oh, sorry, the lighting is weird because it's later. So we don't do everything 50-50, but we are each responsible for certain bills. So he gets the rent, electric, internet, that kind of thing. I get all of the preschool, groceries, a lot of the family expenses, and it mostly evens out. I think he might pay a little more because he makes a little more, but it's pretty close. So when you see on the budget that I left out things like housing, internet bill, electric, the utilities, that kind of thing, that's the reason why, because he covers them. Every once in a while, we will exchange a little money directly, but for the most part, we just kind of pay for things on our own. The reason for that, we just like dealing with our own money. I mean, that's really it. So we do keep things separate, and I didn't want that to be confusing and you wonder why I don't have any kind of house payment or anything. So back to the video. So let's start with the income breakdown. And I was actually really impressed with the breakdown that I got over the past year, because I've worked really hard to not spend too much on wants. So my needs are at 52% of my income. So that's just over half. Most people recommend half, so I'm doing pretty good. Just 2% over is not that serious, so that's totally fine. My wants are at 24%, which I think is pretty good. Ideally, maybe I would drop that a little lower this year. It's maybe 20%, just so I can save and invest more, especially now that I'm being more conscious and more intentional with how I'm spending my money. I know there were definitely some things I bought over the past year that, looking back, I really didn't need. And also some of the things that weren't needs kind of got me set up for a good year this year. So for example, buying more for my work wardrobe. So I have a nice selection of work clothes. I definitely won't be buying as much this year. We moved last year from a 1-bedroom to 2-bedroom apartment. So I did have to buy some furniture, some general home goods, some things for the kitchen. Like I didn't have a kitchen table. My 5-year-old just got her first room when we moved, which is really exciting, but I did have to furnish it. So she had to get a bed and some furniture, things like that. So on to the savings and debt spending. Or debt payment rather. Savings, I'm at 18% of what I brought in. So for the savings category, I included retirement savings, personal savings, and personal investments. So that is at 18% of my income went to savings, which is also pretty great. considering the years before I had basically nothing going in there. Literally, definitely no retirement savings and very little personal savings. So that's amazing. I was able to take that much of my income and put it towards savings. And my debt payment was 6% of my income. So the breakdown is pretty nice, where about half went to needs, about a quarter went to wants, and about a quarter went to savings and debt payments split. It's kind of hard to make exact percentage goals for this year because I don't know exactly what things are going to look like now that I'm doing more intentional spending. So I might just look at my numbers for maybe the first quarter and see where my money's going and how I might be able to make my goals for those percentages. I really wish I had started tracking things earlier because it would give me a much better idea of how much better I'm doing, because once you start tracking things, it makes you more conscious of it. So I know for me that sometimes when I was going to buy something, I would think, hey, I'm gonna have to put this in my budget. That's gonna take time. And it's gonna hold me accountable. I'm gonna see that I'm spending money on this stuff. So do I really want to buy it, have some of my time devoted to logging it and just looking at it later and being like, oh my gosh, I spent money on this thing. So just having a budget, or having a expense tracker rather, is something that can really help your mindset when you're trying to save money, because it just makes you think twice about what you're buying. I'm going to be looking at the exact numbers here. I will post an image just so you can see everything at a glance if you don't want to hear me yapping about it. So you can see there is a column for totals, a column for averages, and then you'll see the categories. Where I spent the most, I already knew was going to be daycare. And well, now she's in preschool, but it's the same cost. We're doing the preschool program at her daycare. So the daycare cost and groceries, I already knew those were going to be the two biggest categories. I was really surprised that the next one was home goods. But as I mentioned, we did move, so there was a lot I had to buy. So that does include a lot of furniture costs and things like that. So that really inflated that category. Also, I think I actually left some categories off of here because there were some that I'm not going to have next year, such as moving expenses and things that were really minimal, like transportation services. So taking Uber, I hardly ever use Uber, so it's such a small amount. And when I do, a lot of times it's for work and I get reimbursed anyway, so it's not really worth having on here. All right, so we'll just go one by one through these categories and just take a quick look at everything. So for groceries, the average per month is $601, which isn't too bad considering we really don't go out to eat at all. I definitely don't. My husband will grab something sometimes, so he does have a little more on the dining outside. I actually didn't even put dining out on here because it's something I just basically never did. So it wasn't even worth putting it on here for me. I am doing it on the next one just to track a little better. Like I said, I kind of wish I would have set this up a little better to have every single category, but as this was the first year I was doing this kind of tracking, I really didn't know what I wanted to look at, what categories I needed. So I did learn a lot from this, and I set my budget tracker up for the next year much better to track all of this. Paper goods is going to be things like paper towels. I put cleaning supplies in there also. So basically stuff you might get at the grocery that's not food. Things like aluminum foil and plastic wrap and any of that stuff. So that was $58 a month, which and toilet paper is in there, which I guess isn't awful, but I've noticed we were spending a lot more on paper towels. So I'm really trying to lower that a little bit. I did end up buying some reusable things. We have a cleaning service now who brings their own cleaning products. So we actually don't even need that much cleaner and stuff like that. So I'm really curious to see if that's going to go down over the next year. The next one is probably kind of surprising, and that's gas, which is only at $14 or $14.89 because my husband and I share my car, and a lot of times he ends up filling it up with gas. So I fill it up like less than once a month because we don't need to put that much gas in the car anyway, so it's not often that I get gas. We already talked about daycare / preschool. That one's a fixed cost, averages about $1,200 a month. Personal care and toiletries, so that's things like toothpaste, body wash, beauty supplies, anything like that, and that is $76 a month. I don't know. Is that good? Is that bad? I have no idea. I mean, I guess that's pretty reasonable. Well, I have no idea. I would like to see that lower. Maybe I can get it to like $50. So the next one is over-the-counter meds and vitamins and supplements, things like that. That's $66 a month. I don't mind paying that. That's stuff that I think is pretty necessary. Miscellaneous food is kind of a weird category because that is a lot of stuff that I bought on Amazon that's not necessarily essential, but it's stuff I'd probably otherwise get at the grocery. I don't know. This is such a weird category. I kind of don't know why I did this because I would probably be buying that at the grocery store anyway, but I think the reason I separated it is because it includes a lot of things like protein bars and snack items and stuff that I probably could get away with not buying as many. So I wanted to track that separately and see just how much I was buying. So that's at $178. I'm sort of wondering if I want to just combine that with grocery. If I combine the two, that would be $778 a month on groceries, which they've gone up so much in the past year that kind of makes sense that it would be that. I'm definitely glad it's under 1,000, so that's something. Oh, it also includes snacks for my daughter. So things like those applesauce pouches and stuff like that. The next one is for my daughter's needs. So stuff that she absolutely needs. So school clothes. Honestly, I think a lot of it is clothes. Just anything she needs for school or whatever, I put it under there. So that's $130 a month, whatever, I can do that for her. Medical expenses, $33.76. I have really good insurance with work, so I really don't have to pay that much for medical needs. Most of those had to do with my daughter's speech therapy because there was a pretty big copay we were paying for a while. So it kind of divided out to $33 a month. But now with my insurance plan changed and I don't have a deductible at all. So I'd still have a few copays, I think, but my insurance is really good. So I just don't spend that much on that. By the way, if you're jealous about me having good insurance, don't be, because the downside is that not many people take it. So that really sucks. Okay, so my health insurance comes out of my check before I get my money. So I actually wasn't tracking my health insurance accidentally. Health insurance is $130 a month and that covers my whole family. The next category is clothes, and this is one that I really, really want to change. My expenses for clothes are almost $250 a month. I think what contributed to that was having to buy more clothes for work because I started working in the end of 2023. So I didn't have too many clothes for warmer weather. So I did have to buy like a summer capsule wardrobe for work because I already did have a lot of winter clothes, which was nice. So I did have to buy that. Some of my clothes were just starting to fall apart from where I bought a lot of fast fashion back before I started working because that was really all I could afford. So I did end up having to replace some of my clothing. Then the other thing is that I started working out a lot more and I had to buy clothes to work out in because I hate working out in just like normal cotton clothing because you get sweaty and it sticks to you and I just hate it. So I had to buy some workout clothes. And then once it started getting colder, I had to buy cold weather workout gear. So I did spend quite a bit on clothes, but I think it was fairly essential because I didn't have a lot of the stuff that I needed. And now that I have a good collection of all that stuff, I'm gonna be totally fine, I hope, in 2025. The next one, you can tell me if this is good or bad also. So I put hobbies and entertainment into the same category, and that was about $135 per month on hobbies and entertainment. The only thing that I hate to admit, and if you've seen some of my other videos, you might know that I love buying hobby supplies like yarn and I was gonna say books, but I really didn't buy that many books. It was mostly yarn. So I spent a fair amount on that. Entertainment thing, I don't know, what did I buy for entertainment? Like audiobooks. I bought some movies for my daughter to watch. I don't know, there's just a lot of random things, honestly. I can't even think of them off the top of my head. So that might be something I need to watch a little better. I did make a goal to not buy any yarn for 2025. So I will see how far I can get that to go down without buying yarn, without buying books. We're pretty good on a lot of entertainment type stuff, and we really don't go out and do that much. So we'll see where that goes. Next category is pets. I love this category because my cat is so easy peasy. She is so cheap. I absolutely love her. So the pets category, I only spent $25 per month on average on my cat because really all she needs is she gets a big bag of food like every few months. It lasts her a few months. And then some litter. And I have a really good litter box system where I really don't have to replace litter super often. $25 a month. I mean, I take her to the vet less than once a year. I know that people, you're really supposed to take them, I guess, once a year. But I mean, cats are so easy. I really don't take her that often. I don't know, is that bad? Should I take her once a year? I don't know. She actually recently went. We had an emergency visit because it's kind of gross, but she had a hairball, I guess, that she wasn't able to cough up. So it went through her whole system and it got stuck coming out the other end. So it got stuck when she was going to the bathroom, and I had to take her to the emergency vet. She was totally fine. They just had to they just had to help her out. It was fine. But that was $300. So that's going to average out a little bit higher this year just because that one visit. And I do need to take her to her normal vet just to look at her eye. She has like this weird big pupil. But they looked at it at the emergency vet and said that everything actually looks fine. She can see through it. It's not painful for her. It just looks weird. And it's kind of weird that it happened. They said something about lipid deposits in her eye. But they said it's not an emergency, so that can wait. So the pets category will probably go up a little bit this year, but not by much. And honestly, she's so cheap all the time that I really don't mind spending a little extra one year. So the next one we already spoke about a bit, and that's the home goods because I moved. So the average price for home goods ended up being almost $350 a month. That is crazy high, and I know it's not going to be that high this year, so I'm really not that worried about that one. It'll be fun to see how much that goes down though. I'm not sure what normal would be in a year where I don't move, so that's something I'll definitely be looking at for 2025. For the salon, I don't go to the salon that often. I do live in a pretty high cost of living area in New Jersey. So going to the salon is pretty expensive. I only spent about $310 over the year, but that was 3 haircuts for $310. So it is pricey, but I absolutely love my stylist, and I would rather go fewer times in a year and go to a place I really like and see someone that I really like and who does such a great job on my hair. But it only averaged out to about $25.80 per month. I can totally do that. And I'm posting a video about how I cut my own hair. So if I just need my ends cleaned up a little bit, sometimes I'll just cut my own hair because it's so easy. And then I'll go to her when I want length removed, which will actually probably be pretty soon. This year, I will probably spend a bit more on that because I get my highlights done. It has been like once a year, but the last time I went was at the end of 2023. I would definitely like to get my highlights done again. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but you can see where it's kind of dull up here. So that would be nice to kind of clean that up. It's pretty expensive though to get mine done. It's like $350 or something, which is why I don't get it done very often. But I remember when I was paying less to get my highlights done at a different place, I had to get them done more often. So she just does such a good job. I don't know what kind of magic she works where I only have to get my highlights like once a year, and I don't know. So I think it's worth the extra cost. The next category is electronics. And I averaged $150 a month for electronics. I'm trying to remember everything I bought. I know I bought a Kindle. I bought my TV on a gift card that I got from work. What else did I get? I don't even remember. Oh, my phone. I had to replace my phone, but that wasn't too bad. That was like $400. So we're at, that's only like $900. What else? Oh, my Garmin watch. I did get my Garmin watch and that was like 500. Okay, so I did spend a lot on electronics. I'm not anticipating spending much more on electronics, but if something goes out like my phone or my iPad or something, I will be replacing it. My laptop is starting to get kind of old. I think it's like 7 years old or something, but it's still in really good working order because I got a really good laptop when I bought it, so it was able to last all these years. I shouldn't have to replace that. I think it's still good for what I need it for. Yeah, so it's possible I'd have to buy something, but I don't think I will unless something breaks. I'm not planning on buying anything new, like new electronics. The next one is for my daughter, things she wants. So like, I guess it's mostly just toys. So for her wants, it only averages about $35 a month, which is, I think, super reasonable for her. A lot of times it's things like painting sets or coloring books or just a random toy, especially for things like rainy days. Sometimes we need those backup toys just to keep her entertained while we're in the house. I'm lucky because her favorite thing to do is to be outside. So she doesn't even like playing with toys all the time like that. She would much rather be at the park. Like I said, the only thing that sucks about that is if it's a rainy day or that it's too cold, it's snowing, it can be really hard to entertain her. So it's good to have some little backup activities for her when she gets really antsy from being inside. And the final category is work. Somehow I spent about $50 a month on work. Trying to think of what all of that is. I know I bought a standing desk for work, and of course we moved to a new office where they had standing desks, so I didn't even need it, but I'm able to use it at home now because I work from home 1 day a week. So it is nice that I bought that standing desk. That's awesome. Oh, I know. So there were some things I had to buy for my home office for working from home. So things like a laptop stand. I needed a stand for my monitor, my second monitor. I bought these fun little macro keys because my job, I have a lot of data entry I have to do. So there's a lot of just copy paste from like one program, from like Excel to this other software, just back and forth. So it gets annoying having to just Control C, Control V, Control C, just the whole time. So I bought macro keys where in one click I can copy and paste. If you do a lot of repetitive keystrokes, these keys have been amazing. I absolutely love them. It makes my work go by so much faster. So that was definitely worth it. I bought a USB port extender because I needed more Oh, a mouse. I bought a vertical mouse because I was starting to get pain in my wrist. And the vertical mouse, you can hold your hand kind of sideways and it's much more ergonomic. I absolutely love it. So I guess I just bought a lot of random things to make myself more comfortable at work. I bought like a seat cushion and a lumbar support for my home office. I guess, okay, $50 sounds pretty fair. As I get older, I'm totally okay with investing in things that make my body ache less. So if I come home and I'm having these like shooting pains in my arm from using my mouse, I think it's totally worth it to invest in something like a vertical mouse or just anything to make me more comfortable. That is my expenses for 2024. It was really eye-opening looking at some of this data. I'm so glad I was able to track for the full year. I highly encourage you to do this. Even if you don't set budgets, which I didn't set strict budgets because I'd never tracked my spending before. So I really wanted to just see what was normal and where things were going. So I highly recommend doing this. You can see where your money is actually going, and then you can see how you need to set your money goals. I still can't believe that a quarter of my income went towards savings and debt payment. That's just so amazing. And I'm really excited to see what I can do with 2025. Maybe I can get it to 30%. I don't know. We'll definitely find out. I think I'm going to reevaluate my goals every quarter. I'm definitely going to make another video to go over some of the goals, but I think it'd be a good idea to reevaluate those. As my spending habits differ from last year, it'll be easier to see where my money is going now and how I need to adjust things. I really hope you've enjoyed this video and taking a look at where some of my money is going. Maybe it gave you an idea of some categories that you might want to look into. What kind of things do you tend to spend the most money on? Do you have any similarities to me? I'm really curious to know how things are going for you in your life. Just drop me a comment and let me know. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.